Alright, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today I want to talk about Bitfarms, stock ticker BITF. Bitfarms put out their monthly operational report for the month of December, so they are always the first ones to put this out. They put it out on the first business day of the month. So I want to go through this because, in my opinion, there was some huge news in there. So I want to break this down. I don't think the market's really fully digested it yet and understand what happened here. So I really want to do a deep dive on this one. So if you're new to the channel, please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button. And lastly, if you want to become a member of the channel, you can join the channel. We do have a live stream members only today after the market closes. We do that every week on Tuesday. And on the live stream, the members get to pick a company for me to do a deep dive video on that we do just for the members. So we have a lot of fun there. We'd love to have you join us. I think this monthly operational update was a bit of a game changer, in my opinion. They did all the things that I wanted to see them do. I think they're weatherizing themselves. And what I mean by that is they're restructuring themselves to prepare for the crypto winter that we're already in the middle of. Don't know how much longer it's going to last, but I think that Bitfarms has decided they can't just hope that it's going to end, and they've taken steps to reorganize what they do so that they can survive this downward cycle right now in Bitcoin, however long it lasts. So let's take a quick look at where Bitfarms is trading right now. So they're trading at 43 cents, well under $1. This stock has been sold off massively. So I just want to show you from a market cap standpoint. Their current market cap is $94 million. So remember, sometimes people think, well, the stock price is going down because they're diluting their stock. I want to show you a market cap comparison. And we do this all the time on the channel. So here's their market cap over the last few years. And you'll see in November of 2021, so that's about 14 months ago now, this market cap was $1.35 billion. It's now $94 million. This is down much more than 90%. So in my opinion, I think most reasonable people would interpret that as this company is being priced to go out of business imminently. And I do not believe that that is the case with them. So let's go through the actual update itself. Okay, this came out January 3rd at 7 a.m. Eastern time, so that was this morning. Bitfarms mined 5,167 Bitcoin in 2022, up 50% over 2021. So that's the first thing. If we look at the year in total, that's 50% production growth year over year. So obviously that's very strong. 496 Bitcoin mined in December 2022. So we'll take a look at their chart of production by month or Bitcoin mined by month over the last year plus. They're at 4.5 exahash per second and 188 megawatts of operating capacity at the end of the year. So that's up a little bit. They were at 4.4. They're now at 4.5. I will tell you that one of the things that they have changed, they were talking about trying to get to 8 exahash by the end of the year. Well, they ended up at 4.5 exahash. So that's significantly less than they talked about. That may be concerning to some people. It's the opposite to me. I believe this was a strategy that they've taken to slow things down because this hyper growth in a crypto winter is a formula for potential disaster. So I think they pumped the brakes. It's evident to me they're taking a more conservative approach and they're solving some short-term financial liquidity issues that were building up. And I think they've made great progress on that. So let's keep going. The next one, the Bitcoin-backed loan facility is paid off in full. Borrowed $100 million short-term line of credit earlier in the year. We've talked about this a lot on the channel. At the time, that may have made sense, but unfortunately, that did not go well for them. They have had to sell most of their Bitcoin in order to pay this off, but they needed to get rid of this debt. It was $100 million of debt that was short-term, that was putting them in a crunch. So this debt is now zero. So to me, that's a gigantic landmark. So this was my number one thing that I wanted to see Bitfarms do. And the other thing worth noting is for the year, they mined 5,167 Bitcoin. There's only 2 other Bitcoin miners that are publicly traded in North America that mined over 5,000 Bitcoin. So this puts them in the top 3 Bitcoin mined for the year 2022. So you can see operationally, Bitfarms was one of the top performers in the year 2022. There's just no question about it. Their cost per coin is reasonably low. It's lower than the industry average. Bitfarms, a global Bitcoin self-mining company, provided a Bitcoin production and mining operations update for December 2022. Quote, in December, we energized the remaining portions of the Bunker and Garlock farms, executing our Canadian expansion plan 2.5 months ahead of schedule. So this is one of the good things. They have been on schedule with their Canadian mining upgrades all year long. Now, they were expecting to add a bunch of exahash in Argentina. That has pretty much been put on hold temporarily. They haven't come out and said that. There have been a bunch of reasons, getting items through customs and other things, energy costs, that have slowed this down. But I believe this is very intentional. So I do think they will end up doing all that. I just think that they have slowed way down. They've changed their cash flow situation, they've changed their liquidity situation, and they've done so by backing off this massive growth path. We saw that the companies with the most massive growth, Core Scientific, unfortunately didn't even make it to the end of the year. You do want to move forward, mine as many Bitcoin as you can, but you want to manage that growth against this crypto winter, which I think lasted a lot longer than a lot of people thought. Renegotiating minor contract commitments, we have positioned ourselves for strategic growth with minimal cash outlay in 2023. So to me, that says everything. That's what's going on here. In my opinion, this has been a fairly substantial reorganization of their business model. These are the types of the decisions that management and executives need to make, sometimes in real time and on the fly as situations change. And obviously, the situation for Bitcoin changed drastically in the year 2022, right? We hit 69,000 just prior to the end of 2021, and we're now trading under 17,000. So those are two different universes. These companies needed to be nimble and make changes to their plans, and I think Bitfarms has done this. Ben Gagnon, Chief Mining Officer of Bitfarms, said, with 496 Bitcoin mined in December, our total 2022 Bitcoin mined reached 5,167, up 50% over 2021. We averaged 16 Bitcoin mined per day during December. So again, this is excellent performance. This was a big increase from November. They also increased their efficiency this month. So that's always good to see. Based on the number that they put out, I would expect that they're going to be competing for the most efficient miner in the month of December. So they were highly, highly efficient in their mining, and they mined almost 500 Bitcoin. CFO Jeff Lucas added, during 2022, we navigated a challenging year. We increased our financial flexibility during the year and are poised to explore emerging equipment and expansion opportunities during the period of industry consolidation. So this is a company that went from having liquidity problems and being worried about their liquidity to maybe repositioning themselves to make some moves in the year 2023. Okay, so here's their chart. 496 Bitcoin mined in December compared to 453 in November. You'll see they only went from 4.4 exahash to 4.5 exahash. So that increase in Bitcoin mined wasn't really due to that 0.1 exahash. It was due to a higher level of efficiency, and you're going to see that. Bitcoin per average exahash. So this is my efficiency number that I keep track of for all the Bitcoin miners. A lot of them are starting to report this themselves, including Bitfarms. So you can see they went from 105 Bitcoin mined per exahash on the average in November up to 113 in December. So again, they're the first ones to report, so we're going to have to wait and see. But my guess is that's going to be very, very close to number one out of all the Bitcoin miners in the month of December. Okay, then on the last line, you'll see Bitcoin sold 1,755. So they did sell the majority of their stack of Bitcoin. We'll go through. They do still have some left on the balance sheet, but with that, they now have paid off their short-term line of credit in full. So most of this Bitcoin was being used to secure that line of credit. And I think a lot of people's fear was that if Bitcoin took a big dive, all of a sudden possibly they were going to be upside down on this line of credit, and the Bitcoin itself wasn't even going to be able to pay off the line of credit. So to me, this was a strategic move to get rid of some debt that was high-risk debt that was leveraging their Bitcoin, and they did not want to risk the company by letting it get to a chance where, on the off chance that Bitcoin does take another big leg down, then they would have been upside down potentially on that line of credit. So that is a big crisis averted, and they're now able to refocus on their business and their liquidity and move forward. 4.38 exahash on the average online for the month of December. They did mention they did do some curtailment based on severe weather, so they kicked some energy back to the grid so people could heat their homes. So 16 Bitcoin mined daily on the average in December, equivalent to about 265,600 per day, and approximately $8.2 million for the month on a Bitcoin price of 16,600 on December 31st, 2022. So you can see they mined 496 Bitcoin. Now they sold 1,755, so they did have a massive cash flow in the month of December, and they used most of that to pay off their debt. But going forward, you can see it looks like they're going to be able to mine somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 Bitcoin in the short term, and that may grow over time based on how fast they get the rest of their facilities up and running. They completed the construction of the first 50 megawatt warehouse in Argentina. So I don't know that that's up and running yet, but it's complete. I think they have the machines for it. So that may be what comes online over time. They underclocked 2,300 of their underperforming miners. So some of their older miners, they underclocked them, which is energy efficient. So that saved them some money on energy. And they also say they have scheduled 5,600 miners capable of 540 petahash for deployment in Q1 2023 to expand exahash and eventually replace underperforming miners. So that would get them, it looks like, to over 5 exahash by the end of the first quarter. And I suspect we're going to see big updates based on the price of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin stays at these low numbers, I would say that Bitfarms probably will stick to this plan of growth. Now, if Bitcoin were to take an upturn or if some opportunities present themselves, we'll see. Obviously, Bitfarms has shown that they do have some flexibility and they're willing to make some changes. They sold their Della Point farm in $3.6 million in net cash proceeds, so that helped pay off their loan. They paid $16.5 million to fully extinguish the Bitcoin-backed facility. So again, to me, that's one of the most important things they did this month. They also paid down $2 million in equipment-related indebtedness during the month, leaving an outstanding balance of $47 million. So what does that leave them with? They hold 405 Bitcoin in custody at December 31st, representing a total value of approximately $6.7 million. In addition to that, they hold approximately $31 million in cash and cash equivalents at December 31st, 2022. That's almost $38 million in liquidity they have right there. Lastly, they renegotiated miner purchase agreements, extinguishing payment obligations of $45 million without penalty and establishing $22.4 million credit for prepaid deposits to be applied against future purchase agreements. So this is another big step in turning around their cash flow in the year 2023. They extinguished $45.4 million of future obligations to buy equipment. That still leaves them with a $22 million deposit. So there still will be equipment coming. They got no penalty for that. So altogether, you can see they've drastically changed their liquidity situation. Okay, so just quickly to take a look at their charts, I want to take a look at two things. Okay, so this is a chart of basically the second half of the year. So you're going to see the Bitfarms one-day chart, and on top of that, you're going to see an orange line, which represents Bitcoin's movement in that same period of time. So in the last half of the year, Bitcoin was down about 19.6%, somewhere around 20%. In that same period of time, Bitfarms was down over 70%. So this has massively underperformed Bitcoin. Now, obviously, the Bitcoin miners are leveraged plays on Bitcoin, but I think this has been oversold. This is not financial advice, so you guys need to do your own due diligence and make your own decisions. But to me, this chart looks like Bitfarms has been massively oversold. A lot of doubt has been built into the price of this stock, and I think that this December update represented a much cleaner, clearer picture of their liquidity and their path to moving forward. So if I go to the Bitfarms one-day time frame and just take a look at the last several months. So we're maybe $4,000 or $4,500 underneath where Bitcoin was when Bitfarms hit as high as $1.16. If Bitcoin could rally and get back into the just around $20,000 or $21,000 range, which in my opinion is very realistic in the first quarter, I think we could have just a relief rally that goes beyond that. The potential upside to Bitfarms stock would be 163% just to get back to where they were on October 26th, which was basically just 2 months ago. I'm very impressed with this update. I think they've made a lot of the right moves. I think that if Bitcoin does have a rally, I expect Bitfarms stock to rally in the short term. You know, in the first quarter, they may have a very big rally. So obviously, if Bitcoin goes the other way, then the opposite is true. So, you know, there's always a risk reward, and this is not financial advice. So please be very careful. You can see these are ultra volatile stocks. Bitfarms is down over 90% just in the last year. So be careful investing. Those are my thoughts on Bitfarms monthly update for the month of December and basically for the year ended December 31st, 2022. Happy New Year again to everybody, and we will see you in the next video.